Good evening. I'd like to call to order a meeting of the Cunningham Township Board. Before we begin, I do want to note that we have two meetings and a meeting within a meeting tonight. So we're beginning with the regular meeting of the Cunningham Township Board, Monday, March 25th, 2024. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu, Mr. Evans.
Here.
Ms. Hersey. Ms. Colasetti.
Here.
Ms. Bishop. Ms. Wilkin.
Here.
Mr. Quisenberry.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here.
Supervisor Chenoweth.
Present.
Assessor Owana.
Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the, do we have the minutes? January 16th, 2024 and February 12th, 2024. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Seconded by Jaya. Are there any substantial corrections? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion passes. Are there any additions to the agenda? No additions. Public participation. If anyone wishes to address the Cunningham Town Board, please step forward to the mic. Looks like no public participation. We'll move on to committee to verify bills.
Okay, so this last month we had $65,030.04 in the town fund and expenditures. In the general assistance fund, we had $225,665.55. The total expenditures were $290,695.59. And the bills are in your packet, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about them.
Any questions? There are no questions. I'll have a motion to approve the bills.
I'll move to approve the bills.
There's a second.
Second.
Moved by James, seconded by Jaya. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Colasetti.
Yes.
Ms. Wilkin.
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry.
Yes.
That motion passes. Reports of officers.
So I just want to point out in the memo this month, a couple of things. We did have a pretty significant number of applications that have been received and processed. So it was 37 applications received and processed in March. We've spent almost $250,000 in RA out of a $178,000 budget. We have significantly cut back on rental assistance. We're down to 2 months of rent maximum. We were at 4 months. We did have a pretty significant number of applications we were moving through, and we kind of have cleaned that out. So we will manage the over budget using underspending in GA and accelerating ARPA spending, and we've sent that budget. I think I just wanted to reflect on our emergency housing hotel program is going through a little bit of restructuring in that we're going to allow additional people to refer. Currently, it's been Strides, See You at Home, Crisis Nursery if there are children, or USD 116 if there are children involved and there's not room in our bricks and mortar. So we are opening up that, and we're developing more robust structure. Part of that is because Strides has requested that they basically have more of a stable population, and so they're full, and so it's harder to have people come to them and try to enter into Strides and then be referred. So we're trying to make it easier for participants. So I know that oftentimes people ask the question, how do we get the phone call many times a day, asking if we can be put into a hotel. And the answer is no, we will be receiving people through our internal referral through street outreach and then externally, and I will share that information when we have that piece. I think the only other thing I wanted to share from the supervisor's memo is that we had 3 peer leaders attend a peer leadership workshop in Springfield. And I'm really excited. I have heard back from all three of them. I've been in conversation. It was a really impactful experience to work in developing their voices and leadership. And so I'm excited about building that program over time. Let's see. We did have a public safety forum that we co-sponsored with the Independent Media Center yesterday. There were about 50 folks there, including Chief Boone, who attended. I think Grace was there, and Chris was in attendance. So I appreciate you all participating. There is a recording of it, and I will send the recording out. The IMC is getting me the recording, and I'll send it out to you so that you get a chance to see it. In particular, I found the presentation by Law Enforcement Action Partnership to be really interesting. I've mentioned that we're actually, Ethan, who has been our intern in the office and working on the township project, has also done a survey of different models in the community, and we're in the United States. And in particular, there's a couple of kind of gold star models. We're looking at Durham, which is very similar to community to ours, and also Olympia, Washington. We're also looking at Rochester, New York. And so I want to we don't have, with the decennial committee and everything else on the plate, we don't have like kind of a presentation on that piece, but I'd really like to schedule something with you all in the future. And I know you all be talking about the Barry Dunn report. I was particularly heartened, and I shared this with the chief, that 64% of calls for the police were service calls that were not in crime related, and that's almost double similarly studied cities. And I just want to point out how much what an opportunity that presents in Urbana for us to look at opportunities to reduce burden of calls on police and look at ways in which we can support a community and alternative responder model. I do think it will take investment to make that piece happen, but I think the investment, as we have seen in similar communities, it's less investment for greater impact. So I'd encourage you to, I think the biggest takeaway from the presentation yesterday, and of course we don't have phase 2, 3, and 4 of the Barry Dunn report, but is that there's lots of different models. There's the co-responder model, there's the community responder model, there's models within police departments, and there's models within municipal entities that aren't necessarily within the police department. And I think Lee did a good job of looking at some of those models, and I would encourage us to, really look at, as Barry Dunn report launches these next phases, making sure that the town board / city council is directing the questions that you would like to have answers to. I think that is it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Questions? Okay. We'll move on to unfinished business. Don't believe there is any new business.
I've forgotten. I'm going to pass the summary around that was shared last night, so I'll just pass it to the.
Thank you.
Okay.
New business, which is resolution number T 2024-03-001R, which is a resolution authorizing the supervisor project support grant agreement with Urbana Rotary for Solidarity Gardens free plot program.
Yep. So this is exciting. The Rotary actually came to us to ask if there was something that they could do to support Solidarity Gardens. And we requested support for our free plot program, which was one of the most popular parts of the Solidarity Gardens program last year. We had a waiting list and we were not able to serve all the families that were interested in receiving free plots. We have expanded to 8 different sites, including at the Martin Center in Champaign. They've donated 15 sites, 15 plots there. We have plots at Orchard Downs that we've made contact with Orchard Downs and they're interested in offering those plots, and we've expanded at Victory Park and at Meadowbrook. And I just want to point out that before the pandemic, the Park District was having a hard time finding people to to use the Victory Park plots or the Meadowbrook, some of the community plots. So I really think like that collaboration has worked well. We've added Champaign Park District to the Solidarity Garden Steering Group, so the executive director sits at the table in that group, so that's really exciting, and she was able to bring those plots forward. The $2,000 will basically pay for the plots and for some tools and equipment that is needed, including deer fencing, which seems to be one of the most needed things if you want to grow in Champaign-Urbana and not have animals eat your stuff. So we thank Urbana Rotary, but because it's a more formal agreement rather than a check, I wanted to bring it before the town board to get authorization to sign.
Questions on this? Your motion.
Move to approve resolution number T-2024-03-01R, resolution authorizing the supervisor project support agreement with Urbana Rotary for Solidarity Gardens free plot program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Grace, seconded by Chris. Any discussion? James?
I just wanted to disclose, I'm a member of Urbana Rotary, but I'm not on its board or part of its granting process, so I intend to vote on this.
Grace?
I just want to say thanks for putting this together for Township and Rotary and Solidarity Gardens and everyone working on the different parts. I think this is great and hope that we can have more of it, especially in some of our later city conversations. So thank you.
Will, any other discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Colacetti?
Yes.
Ms. Wilkin?
Yes.
Mr. Quisenberry?
Yes.
That motion passes.